Okay, in today's exciting episode, I've just discovered something. What we have is I found a fuse that wasn't working. One of these fuses, that one there, here's what I'll do. I'll take it out. That one there. And when it's out, and you turn the key on, you get the illumination light, but no neutral. Weirdly, indicators still work, but no neutral light, no oil pressure, etc. So put that bastard back in there. Ooh. Check this out. Boom. So weirdly, I'd blown a fuse, and it was over here. This little fuse. Pretty sure the camera's not going to pick this up, but as I said, I guess the point is, I checked it. It looked fine, and after I did a proper test, nothing. So that fuse was blown. What I did do when rebuilding, I put this cable tie on to clamp that main wiring harness out of the way so it didn't hit the tank. I'm concerned that I squashed it, but I'm going to cut that off and have a look. And see how we go. Alright. Also, of note, probably kind of worth mentioning, that goes in there. It's a bit dark, hang on. Still dark. There we go. This was the one that came out, which is a different colour. So that was a 10. It had a 10 in there, so now it's got a 15. As to what caused it to blow, I don't know, but perhaps it was just the wrong one. Anyway, I can't wait to put the tank on. I just noticed that there's two tanks here. One of them has sustained a little bit of damage. This one came with the 1600 motor, and the guy said I could have it for nothing because it had a petrol cap in it. It's my petrol cap. It's seen better days. And what had happened, one of the things that had happened with this one was the little hinge thing. One of those had busted off, and they kind of come with it. So I was able to cut that tank open, and this is the bit I needed. Hopefully I can take that to a locksmith and get a key for it. Anyway, gonna put the tank on. Okay, let's film it, because I'm excited. that's all you can see now, but plug it in these two. Two separate ones, one for the fuel level sensor, and one for the everything else. Fuel pump, which on the 1500 is in the tank. They're in. You probably can't see. Really need those out of the way because I don't want to squish them. So I'll squish them down like that. That's the atmospheric sensor. There's another one in there too, which is the vacuum sensor. Vacuum sensor has a hose on it that goes to the fuel rail. The atmospheric doesn't. It's got nothing on it. Don't be alarmed if you see it sitting there with nothing on it. Okay. I've had this tank on and off too many times. Front bit on. Feel great. This may be a little boring and hard to see, but a couple of things worth mentioning while I'm doing this. I got this bike not running. Someone had cut the, it looked pretty dodgy. It's got a prized off petrol cap. Hang on, I'm just pushing the fuel line on. That's got the two little squeezy clips. You don't need to squeeze them to put it on. You definitely do to get it off. Also, this tank, if you disconnect everything, it drips. So when I've had it off, I've always had, hang on, I have to do it because it's dripping. I've always just plugged it up with that. Anyway, I bought the bike. A couple of things. Starter solenoid had to get, put that on, and I had crank but no start. Long story short, very long. I was going mental because everything seemed to work. Lights worked, cranked over when you push the button, kill switch checked. I had put a new ignition lock on. Some of you will be going, I know what he did. Anyway, I put a new ignition lock on. It didn't work. So then I saw it. I was just about to go and buy a new bloody ECU, which I didn't want to do because it was going to be about $1,000 to get a new one from Japan. And I was committed to buying it, and then it turned out it was $1,000 American. You might be able to tell I'm not American. Neither am I in America. So it was going to be 1,800 Australian dollars for a new ECU that I wasn't even certain was going to fix it. Anyway, as I sat and pondered how much money I'd spent on the thing. I probably shouldn't have. My ratchet's always on the other way. I'd read a little tiny snippet somewhere in the internet about the resistor on the grey wire of the ignition. I looked in the back of the key and it seemed to have a little diode-y looking thing in there. So I thought it already had one. Anyway, I tested the power. I can't remember how I did it. It was on the ECU, I think. I tested how much power was coming from the grey wire of the ignition, and it was 12 volts. What I've read, it's not supposed to be 12 volts. It's supposed to be 6 volts. It's an anti-theft thing. Anyway, I went to the shop. Local shop, got any diodes? Yes, they have. Packet of 10, it's not diodes, resistors. Packet of 10 was 85 Australian cents. And I came home, I took out one of those, and I put it on the grey wire. And funnily enough, I already had the key in the on position. I just left it in the on position. Put the diode on, all soldered up, all nice and nice. And as soon as I plugged it in, I heard the fuel pump kick in, which is one of the things that hadn't been doing. I didn't have fuel pump prime and I didn't have spark. As soon as I plugged it in with the resistor on, fuel pump primed, and then I checked the spark. I had spark, put the tank on, hit the button, and it fired in about, the motor turned over like twice and then sprang to life. So that was all great. But then so I did a few peripherals, blah blah, prepared to take it for a test ride. Obviously it's got no rego, so, and it was school holidays, so I had to wait, you know. I didn't want to ride it around because there's lots of police around here when it's school holidays, because I live in a kind of holiday area. Took it for its maiden voyage. You know, I was pretty happy. The bike was running and I'd had it for at least 4 months before then. This is a 13 mil, this one. Took it up the street, first gear fine, put it in second, jumped straight out of second. I, you know, thought I'd just warm it up, and perhaps it's just, you know, it'd been sitting, I believe, for a number of years before I bought it. Anyway, long and the short of it, it continually jumped out of second gear, which meant I had to, well, take the whole bike to a shop and get them to pull it down. Pull the motor out, take the motor to a shop, or pull the motor out and pull it apart, which I did. And I got in the guts of there, pulled the gears out. Yep, there's worn gear dogs and a badly scored selector fork, as per my first video. Couldn't get the parts for what I'd done. I could get someone to fix the gears, someone down in Melbourne, but that was still would have cost, oh, I bet, you said $75 a face, and there's 10 gears, and most of them have got, well, there's 5 gears, but there's 2 for each one. Potentially $1,500. save a couple which probably didn't have to be done, but it would have been, you know, 1300. Would have had to post them to Melbourne and back, which is a long way from here, or pick up a second-hand 1600 motor, which is out of a bike that had been crashed. So the motor, you know, apparently was fine, been crashed, front end was all messed up, tank was badly dented, so it's even worse now, for $1,200. Anyway, enough to do. Let's see what happens now. I hope those lights still come on and the fuse is not broken. Now do everything. Okay. And we should hear a fuel pump prime. I can hear it. Maybe it's a joke. Fingers really crossed. Might do that again because it sounds a bit better now. Without the choke, idles down a bit. I got to ride it. They're just throwing out a lot of smoke. I hope that settles down.